Hello and welcome to a Fab Journey. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind a Fab Journey, or the guy who's on a Fab Journey. Did my predictions stand up to the LSS keynote? Well, look, I've been posting a few predictions over the last few weeks, and so you know what, I thought I'd better revisit those now that we've had the big announcement, and just to see how well my predictions stand up, or how badly they stand up to now that we actually know some of what reality is at the very least. Over the past few weeks, I've posted one that was called What's Coming Up in 2026, and that was looking at which releases I thought we would get in 2026. So clearly, we've heard a lot more on that one. Who gets a deck in 2026, where I tried to predict who gets the Armory decks releases. Not that much on that one, but we have got some news there. And then also, what is a Flesh and Blood showdown? Well, we know what showdowns are now. So, and I think that's pretty clear in the title as to what I was talking about there. So how well have my predictions stood up now that we've listened to the LSS keynote at Philadelphia Worlds? Let's start off with what's coming up in 2026. Here's what I predicted of that, was that Guardian and Mechanologist are due a year off, that the first release of the year would be Light and Shadow with Brute, Illusionist, Runeblade and Warrior heroes. The second release would be Elemental with the Runeblade and Wizard heroes. We'd have a we'd have a mastery pack for either Brute or Warrior. The third release would be for Savage Lands with a new talent and Necromancer and Brutes. And that means no Assassin or Ninja for next year. Well, how did that all stand up then? Well, we now know that the first release of the year will not be Light and Shadow and won't even be a main release. The next one is going to be Compendium of Wraith, which is a, in quotes, premium supplementary booster set, end quotes. Look, I'd read somewhere that LSS had stopped doing supplementary sets, and that's why I didn't think they would have one of these. So there we go. Clearly, this one I think was probably a bit of a surprise to quite a few people. But when you think about it, that it's going to come out on the same time as Silver Age chapters 1 and 2, it makes much more sense that these are, and we did get told it would be supporting that. So it does makes a lot more sense to have a supplementary set that supports those for that. So look, I don't think Silver Age was, or at least the chapters, the decks weren't announced when I made that prediction. So I'll give myself a little bit of a buy there. But clearly, I did get that wrong as to what the first release was going to be. Look, set 19 could still very well be a Light and Shadow, and set 20 could still be an Elemental release. So we're just going to have to wait and see on that one. I don't think we'll be visiting Savage Lands next year, though. I think that was a bit of a Hail Mary, to be honest, and was perhaps more around what people would like to see, rather than necessarily what the direction that LSS had indicated that they were really kind of going. Especially with, and I know that Hala isn't a light warrior; she is just a warrior, but she does come from the area that has been Light and Shadow, and so the set 19 could very well still be Monarch 3 and be a Light and Shadow release. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. I predicted one mastery pack for either Brute or Warrior. We are getting two mastery packs, one in the third quarter and one in the fourth quarter. So we might get both of those, or maybe I've got the wrong class. But those are the two classes I think that kind of needed the mastery pack most. So we'll see if I'm correct on that one. We still don't know what classes of heroes we'll be getting in set 19 and set 20. We do know, though, or the way that I listened to it all was that we wouldn't be getting any new heroes as part of Compendium of Wraith. So yes, no new heroes there, and we'll just have to wait and see where the what heroes we get in set 20, 19, 20, and also in the two mastery packs as well, for that matter. So we have to wait and see there. Who gets a deck in 2026? Now, look, this wasn't my finest hour. I think this was my best post ever. But what did I say in there? I said that release 1 would see either a Kane or a Cleric deck. Release 2 would see a Wizard deck, probably Islander. Release 3, I was going for a Savage Lands Ranger, which was a real shot in the dark. I mean, there's no evidence of that at all. So I don't really what I was really was going what people were kind of hoping for, and trying to put things together and try and force something in there than a real prediction. Let's be honest. Two existing CC heroes. I thought that Vincent and Olympia would get themselves decks, and that they would do 2 Armory deck legends for Nu and for Zen. So we already know that we're not getting Kane or a cleric deck, and that's in release 1. And I think we can get rid of that Savage Lands Ranger one as well. Let's get rid of that. So set 19 though looks like it's going to be Hela is going to be the Armory deck for that. So a warrior one, not the direction that I thought they would go in. But yeah, I do think that Hela will be part of that set 19 and part of that set release. So I think she is the Armory deck for that. Now look, in the slide there are only 3 slots or 3 Armory decks mentioned, but they did say actually that they might be multiple Armory decks in each of those. So just because there's only 3 sort of slots mentioned doesn't mean there aren't going to be more of them. What it basically means is we're not getting any Armory decks in Q1, but we will be getting Armory decks throughout the rest of the year. Now, it really is interesting to see that a mentor has been made into a hero. Look, I've never come across mentors before. They're kind of around before my time playing. I've not seen anyone ever actually play them. Now, mentor cards say that you can only play them with young heroes, but on the Fab card vault, it says that they're legal for CC. So I don't really know what's going on there. So look, I need to learn more about mentors. Let's be honest. At the moment, I don't really know what's going on there because that all sounds a bit contradictory with me on that one. So most of this one about who gets a deck is in that wait and see bucket. Will we get a wizard and have I picked the correct existing heroes that will also get some Armory decks? We'll just have to wait and see on that. Finally, what is a Flesh and Blood Showdown? Well, we know now, don't we, that it's replacement for the Battle Hardens, and that will be played on a Sunday for a calling weekend. And that the Battle Hardened solo events are going away and won't be replaced for that, but there will be more calling events next year. So clearly, I was totally wrong here because I thought that this was going to be the global rollout of store championships, so that other countries would get them, and that it had been trialed in New Zealand. So clearly I was very wrong on that one. However, if we go back to that slide, it does say down there in Q3 and more to come. And if you look at when has the store championships been held in New Zealand, well, that was in Q4. So maybe, just maybe, we will get something down there as a part of that. That's maybe, so. I may not be totally wrong. Well, it's clear I was totally wrong with what a showdown is, but I might not be totally wrong that they will look at rolling out store championships globally. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. So there you go, folks. I've gone back, haven't just forgotten about them and tried to just quietly make them disappear. I've gone back and looked at my predictions and see how they stand up. Not great, but hey, you know what? It's always fun to speculate, and it's all a learning journey, isn't it? So I hope you're enjoying your fab journey. Stay safe and enjoy those cards.